He spent more than 50 years posing as a harmless freelance photographer, using his camera to lure women in and kill them. Behind the lens, Joseph Naso kept a handwritten top 10 list of his favorite murders. Now, even from death row, that list is still giving up its secrets. For years, the women behind the coded descriptions on this list, their real identities were a mystery. But today, thanks to a former inmate and a cold case investigator, we're finally learning their real names. This story is fascinating. I'm Amy. Let's recap. In April 2010, a probation officer in Reno, Nevada shows up for what he thinks is a quick, routine home check on an elderly parolee. Instead, he steps straight into a nightmare. The man he came to see, Joseph Naso, he's living in the most disturbing house you can imagine. The officer takes one look around and immediately calls for backup. It looks like something out of the Silence of the Lambs. Female mannequins dressed in lingerie with full hair and makeup hang from their necks with pantyhose. Windows are boarded shut. 2 rooms are rigged to lock from the outside, and everywhere, thousands of photographs, maybe 250 women, posed to look lifeless. Others are bound, they look unconscious, they're all posed like macabre trophies. As investigators keep digging through this freak show of a house, they hit on something even worse. A single piece of paper that'll make your stomach drop. They call it the list of 10. Coded descriptions scrawled in Joseph Naso's own handwriting. This is not some grocery list. Lines read, girl near Healdsburg, girl on Mount Tam, girl from Berkeley. It's chilling. And if that's not creepy enough, wait for this next bit. Detectives crack open his safe deposit box and boom. Inside is a news clipping about a missing woman named Pamela Parsons. Glued to a piece of cardboard, flip it over, and there's one of Joseph Naso's own photos. A woman posed on a couch in lingerie looking very much not alive. Now here's where it gets downright terrifying. Pamela Parsons disappeared in September 1993. She was later found dead in an orchard in a remote corner of Linda, California, exactly where entry number 9 on that list pointed, girl from Linda. Inside that same safe deposit box, detectives find even more proof that Naso's so-called list of 10 isn't random at all. One clipping is about Tracy Tafoya, discovered dead on the outskirts of Marysville, California in 1994. She matches entry number 10, girl from Marysville near cemetery. Another was tied to 22-year-old Carmen Colon, most likely number 2 on the list, girl near Port Costa, found in August of 1978. An 18-year-old Roxine Rogash, she fit number 3, girl near Lagunitas, murdered January 1977. So yeah, that so-called list of 10 was Naso's personal top 10, his favorite kills. Each cryptic line a twisted highlight reel. And here's where it gets even creepier. Naso bragged about racking up as many as 26 murders in total. That's where the coins come in. Tucked among his belongings is a carefully arranged collection, 26 coins, all displayed heads up like a hidden scoreboard. Put it together and it's chillingly clear. The list isn't just a record, it's a ranking. 10 kills he can't stop revisiting, and a pile of coins quietly keeping count of every life he claims to have taken. And that's just the start. His journals are a masterclass in horror, with graphic confessions dating back to the 1950s. Page after page, he brags about drugging and photographing unconscious women, then strangling some and dumping their bodies. One entry is bone-chilling. It reads, "Girl in North Buffalo Woods. She was real pretty. Had to knock her out first." All of it hidden behind the mask of an ordinary old man. So ordinary that in 2008, The only thing they got him for was stealing women's underwear. That's what he was on probation for. Nobody dreamed that a simple probation check would blow open a half-century of murders and reveal a still active serial killer. For years, Joseph Naso lived a double life so ordinary it was almost genius. Mild-mannered family man, father of two, Little League coach, Club Scout master, the friendly school photographer everybody trusted. All the while, he's hiding a true crime nightmare. Photography wasn't just a hobby for him, it was a weapon. It gave him power and the perfect cover to draw women in. As one investigator put it, people naturally relax when someone points a camera at them. I mean, if you're a pretty girl, you want to have your picture taken, and Naso knew that. He kept an Oakland studio for years, sort of this like one-bedroom place, photographing women, some who would never make it out alive. And it all came crashing down in 2013 when Naso, then 79, was convicted of murdering 4 women in Northern California, each with double initials. 18-year-old Roxane Rogash, 38-year-old Pamela Parsons, 31-year-old Tracy Tafoya, and 22-year-old Carmen Colon. And this coincidence right here is just crazy. There was another Carmen Colon, this one just 10 years old, killed in upstate New York in 1971, part of a set of 3 child murders known as the alphabet murders, all with double initials. Investigators looked at Naso for those killings. He'd lived near one of the victims at the time, and he fit the pattern perfectly, but DNA from another victim cleared him for now. Still, think about that. 2 different Carmen Colons, 2 sets of double initial murders, and Joseph Naso sitting right in the middle of those coincidences? That is the kind of chilling overlap that keeps cold case detectives up at night. But what about the rest of the women on Naso's creepy list of 10? Who are they really? When they first arrested him, detectives managed to put names to 2 more. They believe Shirley Patton is the lady from 839 Leavenworth, and Sarah Dillon matches Girl in Woodland near Nevada County. But without enough hard evidence, prosecutors couldn't make those charges stick, so he wasn't formally convicted for them. But the final 4 names on his top 10 list, well, those stayed in the shadows for years, like ghosts on this kill list that only Naso could fully decode. And then came a twist straight out of a crime thriller. In June of 2022, San Quentin death row inmate Bill Noguera reached out to cold case investigator Ken Maines with a letter that basically said, "I've been talking to Naso in the yard. He's actually opening up to me. I write down everything I remember afterward. I haven't gone to the cops because I can't prove any of this, but I need a professional investigator to put the puzzle together." Well, Ken couldn't resist. What followed is now the backbone of Oxygen's documentary Death Row Confidential: Secrets of a Serial Killer. And it is a chilling collaboration between a seasoned investigator and a former inmate, all to pry open the darkest secrets of Joseph Naso's list of 10. Following the breadcrumbs Naso dropped to this fellow inmate, Noguera, Ken Maines went hunting for the next hidden name. 1 clue at a time, they zeroed in on the victim listed as Girl from Miami near Down Peninsula. So for years, detectives assumed that meant Miami, Florida. But Naso was always one step ahead with his word games. So the inmate explained that Naso kept saying, no, this girl isn't from the East Coast. She was visiting her sister, but he didn't really want to talk about her. He didn't get into details, so they didn't have much to go on. But the hints he did offer cracked the case wide open. Meet Charlotte Cook. On January 3, 1974, the 19-year-old college student, community activist, young mother, and widow left her home in Oakland to see her sister in San Francisco. She wore knee-high boots, a blue shirt, and a camel hair coat. The next day, her body was discovered at the bottom of a bluff overlooking Thornton Beach in Daly City. a brown belt cinched around her neck. Her father recognized her only because of the expensive camel's hair coat described in the newspaper. So when Ken Maines revisited the details, the puzzle pieces finally fit. Charlotte was last seen on MacArthur Boulevard in Oakland, just blocks from a side street called Miami Court. And the area where her body was found, back then, locals called it Down Peninsula. And her double initials, Charlotte Cook, that's Naso's favorite, and the pattern was impossible to ignore. So more than 50 years after her murder, Daly City police now believe they can finally close that cold case. Charlotte Cook, they say, is the girl from Miami near Down Peninsula on Joseph Naso's death list. They also think they've cracked another one. Number 6 on Naso's twisted list, the girl from Berkeley. Ken Maines pieced this one together using the cryptic hints that Naso gave Nogueira. He bragged that he answered a modeling ad in the old Berkeley Barb newspaper, and he met the young woman, this aspiring model, at a cafe in the 70s. Naso told him, okay, yeah, so after she chained her bike, I drove her to my home in Oakland. My wife and sons weren't there. I had her lie on her back for some topless shots, and during this session, I choked her to death. No violence, no sex, just a quick death. And later that night, he put her body into a trash bag and he tossed it off a bridge. That confession lines up almost perfectly with a decades-old mystery, the disappearance of Lynn Ruth Cones in 1976. Back then, Lynn's bike was found chained outside a restaurant in Berkeley. She was never seen again, and her body was never recovered. So after all these years, investigators now believe she is the girl from Berkeley on Joseph Naso's infamous top 10 list. Next up is number 4, girl on Mount Tam. So according to what he said to Bill Nogueira, Naso met this victim at an Oakland A's game. This is diabolical. All right. He was carrying a fake press pass and pretending to be the team photographer. He had fake business cards, perfect way to blend in. He told this young blonde, she's beautiful, I can get you some headshots, let's set up a date to meet, let's get these done, I'll make you a star. So they set a date to meet up at Fisherman's Wharf in October of 1977. That girl was 19-year-old Pamela Lamson. Friends remember her saying she was meeting a photographer, but described him as old enough to be my dad, which fits Naso, because back then he was in his early 40s. That fits him better than it fits another suspect of the era, Rodney Alcala, the so-called dating game killer. For years, Pamela's murder was pinned on Alcala, who also lured women with promises of modeling gigs pretending to be a photographer. Let me tell you, if you are looking for a photographer, bring someone along, because how many people is terrifying. But he always denied killing Pamela. Rodney Alcala did. He admitted to other murders, but he always denied killing her. And he was much younger than the man she described. But then came the clincher. Naso shared details that matched the evidence. Pamela's body was found propped against a tree off a mountain road. Now, at first, investigators figured she'd been dumped from a car and just landed that way. But a closer look showed that she'd been deliberately posed. That lines up with Naso's own chilling words. She just drove me crazy about being an entertainer, and these photographs were because she was going to be a star, and she was dating one of the players from the A's, so I posed her. Now she's getting all the entertainment and all the exposure she needs. And the part about Rodney Alcala getting the blame? Well, Naso found that hilarious. According to Nogueira, he treated it like an inside joke. Like letting another killer take credit for his work was all part of the game. So why would Nogueira turn on a fellow death row inmate and spill these secrets? Well, it comes down to his own shot at redemption. Now, here's the quick timeline. Back in 1983, at 18 years old, Nogueira killed his girlfriend's mother. He was sentenced to death. Over the decades behind bars, he transformed. He was a model prisoner. He became an acclaimed artist. He's published books. He started the podcast Death Row Diaries. Plus, he did all of this. He helped close these cold cases. In the summer of 2024, he was resentenced, which made him eligible for parole. And in July of 2025, he was released. Finally, a free man at 61. All of that, turning his life around, helping detectives, trying to give names to Naso's mysterious victims, is Nogueira's way of balancing the scales. He knows he took a life, and this is how he tries to leave some good behind. Commendable, right? Well, Joseph Naso, he's the total opposite. According to Nogueira, even behind bars, Naso never showed a flicker of regret. During their yard conversations, he still fantasized about getting out and assaulting women. He asked Nogueira to steal him women's underwear, and he wore it around. I mean, Nogueira did not sugarcoat it. He's an extremely twisted, narcissistic rapist and serial killer with no qualities of redemption. This man was built to kill, and that's what he did for a very long time. Now he's 91, and can you believe he is still alive? But right now he is. He is housed in a prison hospital in Stockton, but his time is running out. Cold case teams are racing to connect him to as many unsolved murders as possible before he dies. Obviously, every second counts. And there's a dark reason for that obsession with women who share double initials. This is interesting. According to Vanity Fair, Naso idolized the red light bandit, this guy named Carl Chessman, a notorious 1940s serial rapist who was executed at San Quentin in 1960. Investigators even found letters between Naso and Chessman, plus an invitation to his execution. They believe that Naso chose victims like Carmen Colon in California and Charlotte Cook, first and last name starting with that same letter, as some sort of twisted tribute to his so-called mentor. So when you think about those alphabet murders in upstate New York, those little girls, and you think about all of the things that he did in California and this twisted tribute to this mentor who died in 1960, and the year after the last alphabet murder, I mean, how is it not Joseph Naso? But anyway, that is the story about his crazy top 10 list. And let me tell you, wild. So definitely watch the documentary. It's got to be absolutely crazy. And thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Chris and I are here 3 times a week with new recaps. Until next time, take care.